Nishin Shepan Rajam, Yandaban Sobe Sanye Rebata Shasundam, Devare Shepan Jidin Chemba Jibun Diva Kanoju, Lana Meba Menanjetam, Sanje Jumden de Benjamin, Shajatova, Chaselon Chudu Jazo Shepan Dema, Jumden, Nishin Shepan Rajumba, Yandaban Sobe Sanje Reba, Shasundam, Devare Shepan Jidin Chemba Jibun, Kanoju Lana Meba, Sadam Menanjetam. Sanje Jumden de Benjamin, Shajatova, Chaselon Chudu Jazo Shepan Dema, Jumden, Nishin Shepan Rajumba, Yandaban Sobe Sanje Reba, Shasundam. Devare Shepan Jidin Chemba Jibun Diva Kanoju, Lana Sadam Menanjetam, Sanje Jumden de Benjamin, Shajatova, Chaselon Chudu Jazo Shepan. Kansekanyen zowa jatun saya sajen tena kumbhante buri. Ngane jiden tena choja zonwa tese keba jona chahanse. Namda kunga choto susangwa yishi jatu se jatun buri. Chaban jiden sumna lame bongo mo chonye jona chahanse. Senja tenpa timenda veshe sendo rawa jona chahanse. Dure jara seba suma je nyame chenchen jona chahanse. Gombo tuje che tenpa tamje jembe tenpa bo sunam yenden jatu. Nishin Shepan Chazano Tabian de Chachawan Giving it. Chide de no Jogi was Shinju Jana Chazano, General Labatala Rabda Ne Shingatama Yedana Yachaz. The Wajia Misha Shingawa Kuso Sobaja, Rangi Sunday. Tenesan Jetemba Yen Kamara, Remameta Jumasa. Melanoda Genda Bon Shanum de Derda Sonam Di. Kubanda Mejan Data than Gata Nada Shiva Siva Solan Jovan Jovare so.
To the teacher, the blessed one, the one Gondian, the full destroyer, the completely perfect, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and good conduct, Sugata, know of the word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the sacred land, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one beyond, the full destroyer, the completely, perfectly, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, know of the word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the sacred land, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. To the teacher, the blessed one, the one born here, the full destroyer, the completely, perfectly, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, know of the word, supreme guide of beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and humans, to you the completely and fully awakened one, the blessed one, the glorious conqueror, the subduer from the sacred land, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When the supreme among humans you are born on this earth, you paced out 7 strides and said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies formed supremely pure, wisdom ocean like golden mountain, fame that blazes in the 3 worlds, winner of the best, to you I prostrate. With your supreme signs, face like spotless moon, color like gold, to you I prostrate. You are immaculate, the 3 worlds are not. Incomparably wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior in great compassion, the teacher having all understanding, the period of merit with qualities like a vast ocean, to you the one gone to dustness I prostrate. The purity which makes one free from attachment, the virtues which frees one from the lower realms, the one path, the sublime pure reality, to that Brahma which pacifies I prostrate. Those who are liberated and who also show the path to liberation, the holy field qualified with realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts, to you the sublime community intending virtue I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions, perform only perfect virtuous actions, subdue your mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, mirage, a flame of a lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud, see conditioned things as such. Through these merits, may sentient beings attain rank of all seeing, subdue the four faults, and be delivered from motion of suffering, of aging, sickness, and death.
Sanje Jada Soje Jonama, Chanju Padu, Dane Jazu, Davin Soje, Sonam Jindola Pinch, Sanje Sanje Jada Soje Jonama, Chanju Padu, Dane Jazu, Davin Soje, Sonam Jindola Pinch, Sanje Sanje Jada Soje Jonama, Chanju Padu, Dane Jazu, Davin Soje, Sonam Jindola Pinch, Sanje
I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. Through the merit I create by practicing giving and the other perfections, may I quickly attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
Namje Malaja, Zelmante Dasan Jejum Dende, Dishin Shabanda Jumayana, Sobe Sanje Rivata, Shazun Demon Devotion, Jiden Jama Juvan Deva, Kalo Juva, Lana Meva, Lada Medan Jedum, Sanje Jum Dende Azon, Dishin Shabadan, Sonam Dagi Judum, Gave Zawana, Chumizim, Sube Rabdo Jamba, Sonam Jiteranam Jeshi, Beja Zambana Jetum, Senam Jemedo Jim, Chuyuram Batoma, Tona Medumba Meva, Tebe Mevana, Mubraga, Shero Sijim. Simje Damji Jedama, Chanju Samba Namji Yava, Pabe Kanzona Jebo, Yangan and Deva, Tronjil, Rovana Jedem, Sheba the Meva, Pova Sanjim. So Namrata, Yanima, Gujata, Chomicha, Kutsumba Mevan, Devata, Mago, Sudaga, Yahoma. Sumevata, the Madreba, to men, and number two, Pumata, number two, Kamanda Medemba, Jaja, Namata, Van the Shidicham. Yonzo, Adala, number two, Sivala, Chuolo, Yava, Yishi, Yonzo, Deva, the Majumba. Tadreshume, Sanje Jumdeli, Shenanea, Yanga, the Valomeda, Yanda, Simja Tamjana, Sibe, Sala Shuba, and the Dana Sanje Jumdeli, which you in the Yanda Vanamus. Tambejana, Tomageva, Padujeva, Tomageva, to answer what's interesting, Deba Yonzo, Tabo. Yonzo Jawa Yanda, Bottom, Deme, Ticheva, when you want them, they don't want to tell you, Kevana, Susan and Gajibachi. Jumdeli, and the Wasu Bechu, the one on the bottom, and Yavachu, so they shall do the Rovachi, Timba Mission, the bottom. Temba, you will give Wajaba, whatever you get in there, leverage, Rubachu, Tubachu. Temaja, we give a charge of a visit, give us on the page, she and Joachim, Jibenda. Kundo and Jibenda Zuju, Chambo, Congregation, there was one Kabamba. Chabamba, one member, Drummer, Taded, Metrovan, Jishim. Zobe Sanje Manu get about them a chance. So we are on the stanzas page 43. Stanzas number 42. So So number 42 it says, the great one, the great good and evil deeds are of five kinds. Great good and evil deeds are of five kinds, determined by their consistencies, their zeal, their lack of counteragent, their perfect field. So strive in this respect to the practice good. So now, the two fields is, one is the relatively the qualities, like the parents, and another one is, Buddha and Bodhisattva, so the Arhat. So now and then here's 5 kind of evil deeds and 5 kind of good deeds, all I think conditioned with determined by constant actions, constant actions with positive, constant actions with positive, and the so with the eagerness, with their zeal, and the lack of counteragent. So, without being, backing up, without backing up. So any kind of like, even the small action, like everyday, like one anger. So the anger that is happening constantly, even the small things, and there's no big danger to others, but it's a constantly the anger comes. So this is called, they become very powerful negative actions. And then the anger that with a lot of excitement, that really some kind of you maybe some people do that just to show how they are, how he or she is, afraid by people, just to show that constantly with eagerness. That is also the powerful negative actions. I think you can consider that's the also evil deeds. And the lack of counteragent, nyambu members, without any hesitations, without any sense of shame, without any sense of embarrassment, doing or saying something, negative things all the time. So these are the conditions to, condition your action to be turned into the evil deeds. So another thing is even the small actions, disrespectful to the parents and the teachers, like that. These are also one of the evil deeds. And then another kind of disrespect to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sanghas. Yeah. Any kind of like image of the Buddha, or Buddha's teachings. So these are 5 kind of evil deeds. And then the same actions with determined constant actions, even the small positive things become the powerful positive. Just offering every day one candy to the Buddha and Bodhisattvas, or giving one water to animals, if that is a constantly, and that's become the powerful actions, positive actions. And with eager, with excitement, with faithfully, even the small actions, they're constantly doing that, it's without any disruptions, anything that is inconvenient, you're still doing some small things that you've been doing all the time. So these have become turned into very powerful positive actions. So the actions become the powerful because it is the condition that the constants and faithfully and without without being disrupt or distract. So continuously doing that is the powerful actions, and the paying one respect to the parents, is also powerful actions. Paying respect to the Buddha, Dharma, and the Sangha is a powerful actions. So therefore, strive in this respect to the practice good. So this is Nagarjuna saying that even the small things, if we constantly doing, that become the powerful, the positive or the negative. So then, if someone who are in that practice, they constantly, faithfully, with with great respect, with deep understanding, with faithfully, anything that you constantly doing, and then this become the very powerful, positive actions. So if someone who is in that kind of practice, and then say one negative action cannot be, cause him or any harm. Like, for example, here 43 says, the pinch of the salt can give its salty taste to a little water, but not to the Ganges stream, so not to the river, not to the oil. The ocean is already salty, not the river. So pinch of the salt can, make it salty to the, the cup of water, but it cannot. So there's someone who is doing positive things for a long, long, long time. One harmful actions will not, change that person's result. So know that likewise that minor evil deeds can never change a mighty source of good. So like 24 hours, almost doing the positive things, maybe within that 24 hours, you may have done some kind of negative actions, or done some of the evil things for maybe one time or two times. It's not going to change the whole actions. You are still on that, field of positive. And so then, so this constant practice of the Dharma or any positive actions, so what condition can destroy or distract you is, then this is number 44, the wildness. Here I think wildness means kind of your mind is chasing after, the image that projected through your attachment. Your mind is chasing constantly the image. Constantly means many times chasing that image of attractiveness, the favorableness that is projected through your attachment. That is called wildness. And the remorse. Usually someone says the remorse is regretful for doing something, good for others.
Regretful doing something good for others.
Yeah. I should not be doing that. So so that's a regretful remorse, and also even So this is definitely is the non-virtuous kind of so non-virtuous form that you are regretful because you have done something benefit to your friends or enemies, So, and then another thing is even something you have done bad things and constantly regretting, guilty feeling is also not a very, healthy mind is not a healthy mind. Because Nagarjuna says, something you have done bad or someone has done bad to you and keep thinking about it is like your mind is constantly, placed kind of, putting that pictures, the curving that negative pictures in your mind. Like you curve the pictures or the letter writings on the stone is erasable, unerasable. So that is also not good. You have to anything that you have done or someone has done bad to you, or you done something bad to others, and keep thinking about this is also not good. That you have to forget, like it's something that you're drawn on the sand or the waters. So the wildness, regretful, guilty feelings, and hateful thoughts, and then dullness. So dullness is a kind of, sometimes people use that, mukbas means is kind of confusions. Confusions. So and dullness, somnolence, and a yearning lust, and doubt, negative doubt or deluded doubt, are a hindrance. Please know these 5 are thieves that steals gem of the virtuous deed. So all this practice that you're doing, positive things, can be destroyed by this, habit of chasing the image, imaginations that you projected by attachment. And then constantly regretful about doing something benefit to the enemy or doing something bad to others. A guilty feeling is also like a thief that destroy your virtuous deed. And hateful thoughts also destroy your virtuous deeds. And the dullness, confusions also destroy your virtuous deeds. And somnolence, keep falling asleep or kind of, mental laxity. So mental laxity, it's called mental laxity. And the yearning for lust, and always doubt. Some people have the habit of questioning oneself and others, always with bad intentions. Bad intentions. So this kind of doubt, bad intentions. Sometimes, like for example, in the Mahayana teaching, which says every sentient beings we should consider the mother sentient beings. Sentient beings have been kind to you and a benefit to you, and not only this life, in the past life, even for the enlightenment, without sentient beings, you cannot attain the Buddhahood. Therefore, you should respect to the sentient beings. And then you ask, all these lives I have suffered because of the sentient beings. Why should I pay respect to the sentient beings? So this is kind of, there is only, so if someone who thinks the sentient beings is, filled of the respect, you should respect because you are constantly depending on them. And thereby thinking of that, so it brings more positivities, more sense of closeness to the sentient beings. Therefore, you feel more peaceful, more joyful, and more friendly So if you think opposite of that, why should I respect sentient beings? With all these lives, not only this life, in the future lives, if I face any suffering, that is also conditioned by the sentient beings. And then you kind of, by thinking that, in the moment you start thinking and contemplating on that, it will cause you unhappy, not friendly, no sense of care to others. So it's harmful to yourself. And then Charvaka's idea, the Taoist says, Charvaka says, so this is also diluted doubt. Charvaka says, what goes to the next life from the ashes? So there is nothing. Once you died and your body turned into ashes, there's nothing from the ashes goes to the next life. Therefore, there's no next life. So, and then what you do is, now you don't have to follow the law in cause and effect. There is no virtuous action, there's non-virtuous actions, So you say whatever you feel, you think, and you beautify yourself, you break all the laws and the rules and the moralities, and there's nothing happen after death.
It's close to nihilism.
Kind of, it's kind of nihilism. It's part of nihilism, The nihilism is, they do not really, nihilism is due to the viewpoint. And this person who said that, so there's a story of this great masters who was very intelligent and very rich. So he wanted to get married with his daughter. So, in order for, what do you call not to get criticized by the people, and he kind of said this kind of many negative things. But his intention is not seeking or not, there's no intention to know the truth. It's his intention, he want to get married with his beautiful daughter. So that's a Charvaka happen, Charvaka philosophical, So this kind of deluded doubt. Usually the doubt is necessary, but deluded doubt is not pure intention, to knowing the truth. It's just trying to twist, everything that what is in the reality, you're trying to twist it. So these are the five, these five are the hindrance. Please know these five are thieves that steals the gems of the virtuous deed. So nihilism is the view. You kind of analyze through your kind of best of your intelligence that you use, and you, when you try to analyze on the things, everything seems not true. Everything seems fake, and then says, "Oh, in the reality there is nothing." And then, because of that view, followed by thinking that, oh, there's no previous life, the next life, there's no law in the cause and effect, there's no benefit from the moral ethics, there is no Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. So that kind of, something resulted due to the view, the wrong view, resulted in denying everything. Now this Charvaka is denying next life and law and cause and effect. It's not because of the view, because his desire, his intention. He thought he's going to benefit, from this lying. People call it a conspiracy theory. Yeah. So then so these five are the thieves that steal the gems of the virtuous deed. And then if this is the 5, that's still the virtuous deed. And what can, sustain our positive, everyday positive actions? And then this is, Nagarjuna's goes to saying that with faith and diligence and mindfulness and concentration and wisdom, the 5 in all, you must strive hard. You must strive hard to reach the highest state. As the power, this force takes you to the peak. So the positive action that you're doing every day, with associating with the faith and the diligence and mindfulness and the concentration and the wisdom, then it will take it will perfect your positive actions, to the path to liberation and enlightenment. So that's when it takes you to the peak. So now faith is not just believing. I don't think Nagarjuna's what he meant. The faith. Faith is kind of sense of fascinations, sense of kind of excitement or deep interest, in something by knowing, revealing, that is the faith. And diligence, and you have interest, you have excitement with that kind of positive, positive view, positive actions, positive intentions, so-called diligence. You are happy in doing this. So you have a faith, you are happier in that, doing this kind of positive views and the positive, any kind of positive practice. And then the mindfulness. Mindfulness is steady mind, or kind of steady mind, or you are able to place your mind onto, in the meditations objects, meditations method, instructions, your mind, without having, distract and disturb, you could place your mind, as you desire, So that is the mindfulness. And then that mindfulness, from this mindfulness, and then you will have single-pointed concentrations, So reflecting on the 12 links to the dependent originations, reflecting on the emptiness and the reason, the theory that constitute everything is dependent arising, constantly placing onto that kind of method, instructions, and theory, and logic, and the reasoning. And then it will eventually bring single-pointed meditations. And then that single-pointed meditations will enhance your, wisdom, understanding the truth. So these 5 in all, you must strive hard to reach the highest state. So from the path of accumulation to the path of preparations, from the path of preparation to the path of seeing, and path of seeing to the path of meditations, and path of normal aligning as the state of Buddhahood. So, then says, you may, someone, now you can imagine that one person who is interested, that he is, more accessible to practice of the generosities, or someone who is more accessible to doing practice of the contemplation and study and listening, so with that, in intelligence and the faith in intelligence, mindfulness, the concentrations, wisdom will perfect that kind of practice. So then it says, and previously you have known the 5 thieves that can steal your virtuous deeds by avoiding those 5 thieves, preventing those 5 thieves of the mind, and practicing every day whatever you are accessible in that practice. And then it says, is there any another condition that can destroy your daily practice, positive actions? And then it says, yes, there's one thing is possible, arrogance, pride, deluded pride, and haughtiness may come. During your study, you thought you know so many things, you know so much, and that becomes the condition for generating haughtiness and, and arrogance. Or you can do so much, in meditations, or you can do, so much in the practice of generosities. There is some kind of possible to generate the pride and deluded pride or the arrogance. And for that, what you do as a remedy is then say, I'm not beyond my karma. The deed I have done, I will still fall ill, age, die, and leave my friends. Think like this again and again, yet again, and with this remedy, avoid all arrogance. So, reflecting on you are not free, or you haven't really freed yourself from the karma and afflictive emotions. You haven't really freed from the birth, aging, and death. And the death, with that death, you have to, one day you have to leave everything that is close to you, or so it's for sure, it's certainty about you have to leave everything that close to you. So that reflecting on that will help you as a remedy to avoid all arrogance. So then which means everything boiled down then says constantly reflect on the death, impermanence. So the death and impermanence will, prevent all the arrogance. Then says, so these individuals who is doing the positive things and trying to prevent all these, obstacles, like the 5 thieves of the mind, and then, your positive daily practice is conditioned or associated or underpinned with faith and diligence, the mindfulness, concentration, and the wisdoms, and constant reflection on the death and impermanence. So what you really in your mind, what you desired is, said the 47th, if higher birth, the freedom is your higher birth, right? And the freedom is your quest. Higher birth means the highest state of rebirth, more conducive human birth, or more conducive God, born in God runs. And the freedom is the liberations. If you're seeking, desiring to, born in more conducive human rebirth and freedom, this is your quest. You must become accustomed to right view. So now says, you may be doing the positive things. You may successfully avoiding those 5 thieves of the mind that, steals the gems of the virtuous deed. And you may constantly perfecting your daily positive actions, with condition by faith in the diligence and mindfulness and the concentration and the wisdoms, and you constantly reflect on the impermanence and the death. So now what you really want to know is you deep in your mind, you want freedom, you want happiness, you want more reliable and permanent state of happiness, which is the liberations. That liberations does not come simply by faith and concentration and the diligence or doing positive things. So you have to have, so what is the gateway to the liberation is the right view. You have to have a perfect view. So viewpoint, so you have a directions. So the direction is the right view. So therefore you must become the custom with the right view. Those who practice good with inverse views will yet experience the terrible result. So diligence and sometimes, faithful, respectful, with some is possible, it can go with wrong view, or misunderstanding, or the wrong view. So your view is the wrong, but you are sincere and you are serious. You're there's some kind of faith, unshakable faith with that. So the results are always a terrible result. So that's why without the view, without the real directions, you cannot, simply by faith in a positive doing and positive thinking will not, take you to the, what you desire, the permanent state of peace. So I think this is why we all call it eightfold path. Buddha says eightfold path. So first important thing is the right view, and then right thought, right speech, right livelihood, right effort, right concentration, right mindfulness. So the right view is the calmness, something that leads all these positive actions to their destinations. So then so now the right view and the wrong view, how, the foundations, how do you really build that kind of right view, and in what conditions people, someone who is sincere and faithful, but they have a wrong view. So number 48 says, know this truth,
the men are ever sad, impermanence, devoid of self, impure, those who do not have the close mindfulness, their views 4 times inverted, head for ruin. So now, this is kind of like saying that suppose there's the one person's, 2 persons, and they're all kind of equal, seeking happiness, wanting to be happy, and want to dispel the suffering. So now they do not really understand as the self or the person, what is the self of persons. And they do not understand the basis of the self of person consists of the 5 aggregates. And the 5 aggregates, within the 5 aggregates, the body, this body is, some kind of consists of the 4 elements. 4 elements. And then it consists of 4 elements. Not only that, the body inside and outside is impure. So if the body inside and outside is impure, but with detergent, with soap, we can make ourselves feel clean, but there's no detergent that that cleans whole body. The body remains always impure, so filled with unattractive substance. And that is the basis for the existing of the self. So actually this is you are resulted in that impure body is not because of any other external conditions, nor is it because of the God or the creators. It is because of your action, the previous karma and desire, craving for things to see and craving for hearing the sound and smell and the taste and the textures. That desire for the 5 sensual objects, conditioned with this unattractive, impure bodies. So if you understand that, and then this is, understanding this, the body is, impure, and it is the conditional suffering because it's appropriated the consciousness attached to this body due to the karma and afflictive emotions is powered by karma and afflictive emotions. So it is conditional suffering, impure, and it is impermanent, and it is empty of permanent I. So once you understand that, then right there you will find the right view. The right view is see as it is. Seeing as it is means your mind is attached to the conditional suffering due to the karma and afflictive emotions. Yourself do not inherently existing with this conditional suffering. So when you understand that, when your mind start to realizing that yourself is not inherent in the body, not inherent in the feeling or the perceptions, or thoughts, and totally absent and divided in the 5 aggregates. And then, because it will loosen the attachment to the body, to the feeling, to the perception, to the object of the perceptions. So by losing up, weakening the attachment, and the individual, the person will seize the possibility of the end of suffering. So other persons, yes, equally seeking happiness, wanting to happiness, they do not have any kind of instructions or the have to see inwardly, they always look outside. But someone, more powerful, more mighty, and I rely on that. And then this Ishvara or the God will grant you the peace of happiness. So far you're not happy is not because of the Bhagavan or the Creator, is your mind that deluded, therefore you are not happy. So, with faith in the God and the Bhagavan or the Buddha, whoever, by having faith, and, if you do not have the right view, so the Bhagavan or the Ishvaras, always, for sure, it's always fail to help you, and to free yourself from suffering. So I think this is why they're saying that know this truth. Men are ever sad. This. So men, I think here men means, male or the female, the human being or animals, the every sentient beings have, ever experienced, pure peace and satisfactions. No one has ever experienced that. So, and why? Because they see impermanence as a permanent, devoid of self as an independent, intrinsic self, impure as a pure, impure body as the pure. So their mind is not really mindful about oneself and one's existence. Yeah, I hope you understand.
It's 4 times inverted means that what you just said is like the seeing impermanent as permanent. Yeah. That's 4 times.
Yeah, four times opposite.
Yes.
So the permanent, independent self, pure, and then happy. They say, if there is a happy, there's a happiness. We know happiness. I know what is the happiness. That's kind of things. They are happier, but still happy because they want more happy. So why they want happy? I'm not sure. This the happy person will endlessly seeking for happy. And another thing is how it is possible the man will experience, satisfactions, pure happiness, since the man is, always under the influence and impact, always under the, overpowered by this karma and the afflictive emotions. How can individual can be really feel, saying that I am now totally happy? So this is like some, thief who is running from the police, and then one block they pass. They say, "Oh God, thank God, I'm not caught yet." So it's still not sure when the next block he will be caught. So this kind of thing, man's happiness is like that, So now this is yes, I think number 48 is saying it's kind of profound that every sentient being who's seeking for happiness, pursuing the happiness, but some find the way to make themselves happy by worshiping the Creator. When they worship the Creator, and the one thing they're lacking is they do not understand what their self is. They do not understand what is the foundation, what the basis for the self to be existing. They never look inwardly, and they always look outside. So now this is kind of going towards the Nagarjuna says, you must become accustomed to the right view. This is now beginning to explain the right view. So now what is the right views? How do you view the self? How do you view things? Then says here, 49, form is not the self. Your body is not the self. The Buddha taught. And self does not have form. There is, self do not exist as a possessor of the form. Like a driver is the possessor of the car. There is no me, that different or independent from the body. So there's a driver independent from the car who can think that I possess this car. This car belongs to me. So there is no me that exists independent from the body to claim this body is mine. So if that happened, and then possibly in a possible human being can say, I don't want this body, I want this body. So self does not have form nor dwell in form. The self of the person yourself is not dwell in body. Every part of the body, in outside and inside, up, down, in the middle, skin, between skin, within the flesh, within the heat, within the moistures, within the space and the air. There is no person at all, So, for sure, there is no at all the self has ever dwelled in the body. That is the one of the truth. While form dwells not in self. So the tree hanging the fruit, tree hanging the fruit, or the tree trunk possessing the branches. There is no self as a trunk and possessing the body, attached to the self, like body, feeling, perceptions, like that. So which means now in conclusions, body is not identical, with self. Body and self is not identical. They are not one. They are not different like apple and orange. So there's now says that 4 steps. Form is not self, and self does not have form, the self does not dwell in form, the form does not dwell in self, the form. So this is we call jigta nishu, grasping a self, the 20 grasping a self, 20 grasping jigta nishu, 20 grasping, 5, 4, 4, 5. 5 for us 20, right? 4, 5, 20. So like form is not self, means this body is not me, I do not, I am not independent from the body and having or possessing the body, right? And I do not dwell, I do not existing physically landed or possessed in any part of the body. And the body too is not possessed to the self, like a car possessed to the driver. So then the 4 steps you can also apply to the feeling. I do not, self, feeling is not a self. Self does not dwell in feeling, and feeling does not attach to the self. And then mental formations, in the mental formation, attachment or the faith. And self is not the faith, self is not the attachment, self is not the anger. Self do not dwell in anger, attachment, faith, and compassion. And then there is no independent self which having possessing the anger and attachment. So if you understand this kind of 20 ways of grasping the self,
body, feeling, mental formation, and consciousness or perception.
Yeah, body, feeling, mental formations, discrimination awareness, perceptions, the 5 aggregates. So you see now, this is, I think, it's a very significant point. Form is not the self. In the Heart Sutras, form is emptiness, emptiness form. Form too is no other than emptiness. Emptiness is no other than form. So here, form is not self, it's a negation. So it's a negation. Form is not a self. Body is not the person, right? And then body is not the person. There is no person that remain like a car driver, having possessing the car. There is no independent self who possess the body. And then there is no person within the body, inside and outside. There's no. So the body means is totally devoid of self. So so sometimes this is like it says, Chandrakirti used the 5 faults of analyzing on the self. So Chandrakirti says, self in aggregates. Self and body is not identical. They are not different. And self, I'll say, Self do not dwell in the body like a tiger lives in the forest. There's a many part of the bodies, and many forests, many trees, and the tiger stays in the center of the forest. And self is not like a mountain that many trees attach to it. Right? The mountains, the one that attached many trees to the mountains. There is no self in the center that attached with the many aggregates, body, feeling, perceptions. And then this is, and how this self or person is existing, where it exists, where the self of the person exists. And then it exists in the language, it exists in the concept, in thought. So it existing of the self is in the face of the thought and the language by depending upon activities of the body, activities of the feeling, activities of the mental formations, activities of the perceptions like eye conscious, the ear conscious, nose conscious. But depending on them, any changes, activities that happening, and the consciousness, create the entity or single unit as a self is doing this. So I think now this is the root of all kind of afflictive emotions, anger, attachments, jealousies, pride, belligerence, spite, all of them, rooted into that grasping of self. Constantly, they're, viewing the intrinsic self. So the four remaining aggregates are empty too. Four remaining empty, like what we say here is the form, and remaining the aggregates is feeling, discrimination awareness, mental formations, and the perceptions. All of them are same empty of the self. So then this is, now the question here is, if this, the body is empty of self, feeling is empty of self, absence of self, and perceptions, mental formations, discrimination awareness, all of them are devoid of self, and in what conditions that you have this form. So you are not possessing the body like a car owners, the car owners, possessing the car. Or cow owners possessing the cow. But in what condition you have these aggregates? Then it says, the aggregates are not in simple whim. So it's not out of whims. So it means it's kind of, you can also understand out of whim means so something unknown or no reason that, without any reason you have this body. Or out of whim, someone's just, granted for you. Someone says, take this body. So it's not a simple whim from neither time. So there is no independent time that providing the bodies to the sentient beings, the animal bodies, the human bodies, the god bodies, insects bodies. So neither from the time, there is no independent time. Time is not independent from the form in consciousness. nor nature do they comes, nor nature so nor nature by do they comes means it's not by natural it happens. It's not by natural it happens. Yeah, I think this people may think, how come not by natural it comes? Barley sprout is not by natural it comes. If naturally barley sprout is happening or arises, and then you don't need a lot of effort, to work in the field, farming. You don't have to plant, you don't have to prevent the birds and the animals to destroy the seed because things are by natural is happening. So something is not natural, therefore you have to put effort and you have to find the right conditions. You have to go and to buy supplies, the fertilizers to do that. So it's not by natural. If something happens, it's not natural because like hot water is not by natural. The water being hot, is not by natural. It is depending on the heats. If you put on the stove, and then turn on the fire, that turns water hot water, so the boiling water. So the hotness of the water is not by natural because it depending on the cosmic condition. So nothing by natural. So you also have to understand when we say not by natural, natural is opposite of created, produced, condition. So something need to be produced, something need to be created, something need to be conditioned, which means that thing is not going to happen by nature. But it has the nature. Not by natural, but it has the nature. So then, lie has a nature. So the lie, nature of the lie is, not real. Nor by themselves. So things happen, any effect that happen, not by themselves, is they do not come independently by themselves because they all are conditioned by many factors. So nor from God or the creators, not from the Ishvaras. In Sanskrit and Tibetan it's Ishvara. In English translation it says not from the God. Or without a cause. Without any cause, no result could happen. Their sources. So their sources you ought to know is ignorance. From karmic deeds and the craving have they comes. Like the human body is, first the root cause is ignorance. Ignorance is not just not knowing and actively grasping or wrongly grasping on the independent self is the root cause, that driving force of all the emotionals. And then with that emotionals, with that kind of the misconceptions, the grasping of self, and generates from there, it drives the anger, attachment, all kind of delusions, delusional mind. So with the delusional mind, the actions comes, body, speech, and mind. So all these actions is, craving for something, through, five sensory objects, through the form or sound or smell and taste and the textures. Then with this kind of delusional mind and craving for five sensory objects, and then this human body desire desirable or desirums body happen. So once you have this body, and the nature of this body is looking for eat, there's something to see, something you smell, something taste, you feel, because of this body. So now this body is, conditioned by many things. What is not conditioned is not out of whim. It is not by the independent time. It is not by natural. Rangshin I think that's natural. Not by themselves, not by the creators, not without the cause. And what is it? It is not out of whim because it is conditioned by ignorance, misconceptions, karma, and craving. So all this condition then design this kind of form of body. Once you have this, and you will most of the time hunger and thirst. So now they're saying this is the basis of existing of self. Notion of the self is built or constructed or projected in your mind based on this body, this aggregates, which is conditioned by karma and afflictive emotions and ignorance. So this is why, for the individual who is seeking liberations, you have to be, deal with, you have to, apply the antidote or the, counter agent to the three things. So it is to feel that one is ethically superior. So you have some kind of ethic or, I think misunderstanding or, you have some kind of the culture that you built, you adapted. This is something, right actions. This is the right culture. This is the right way of doing, ethically superior. To view one's body wrongly and to doubt with these three fetters, you should understand the way through the freedom city's gate is blocked. So, certain decisions, So the kind of, misguided ethics, they call misguided ethics.
This is different from pride or arrogance?
This. For example, there's in old times still, there's the practitioners, the religious practitioners. So, as I mentioned earlier, sincerely, faithfully, the worshipping, following their Bhagavans and imagining that Bhagavan is something powerful, all compassion. And, just, your mind is only focused on that, and then you know that from the beginning, right from the beginning lesson, we have desire to be happier, and then you have only one thing, is you have the desire to be happy, and you imposes someone who has fully power for bring that desirable happiness to you. So now what you do is, you have unknown to yourself, you have fully known at the outside that there's almighty powerful. So you are not knowing yourself. So then, so because of this, keep thinking, and the Bhagavan is so pure and compassion and powerful, and I am nothing. And then say, to bring myself closer to that. And some people think, because this body is due to my bad karma. So some people think that to purify in order to closer to the Bhagavan, and I have to punish my body. And sometimes they bury their body, half, or sometimes fully buried, and sometimes they they kill themselves for the Bhagavan, for the God. So now this kind of looks like ethic is very disciplined, very kind of faithful and moral. So the idea is, idea of that this kind of ethic is, misconceptions, misguided, misunderstood. So so I think that here the Nagarjuna always say that every sentient being has the Buddha natures. So another word is primordially we are perfect, and we are there's equal as the Bhagavans, primordially, which means if you understand your own ultimate natures, and you will see the Bhagavan in you. So this person, because so much faith in the Bhagavan, he totally neglect his qualities, his potential. Everything he has is this totally nonsense, negative things, unwanted, undesirable, and he punish himself. So maybe Bhagavan, if he is looking at him, he may be crying. So what can I do this person? So, so that is called, sometimes the English translation use supremacy in the ethic, or a kind of misguided moral ethic. And then that misguided moral ethic is, derived from, misconceptions, misunderstanding, and that misunderstanding continuously, blocks, brings the kind of generates the doubt, Some people say, I don't know, I can really attain the liberations, moksha or not. It's only depending on him. So he will decide my mokshas. So you have no idea, you have no sense of understanding the possibility of yourself can be liberated. But yeah, when you look this kind of, when you look upon those people, how serious and sincere in their practice, it's kind of like, they're pretty much disciplined for whole life, somebody, 20, 30 years by doing that. So we cannot say they don't have discipline. They are very disciplined. So we cannot say they don't have sincere, but they are all sincere. But, that sincerity is not really actually is a positive actions. It's not a positive culture. And only because they have viewed, something that is, wrongly understood how the liberation or the moksha can achieve. So kundu josamos. So this is what with these three factors, you should understand the way through freedom city's gate is blocked. So if there is, for example, when someone was trying to go to the airport, and then says, simply he claimed, by claiming I'm going to airport, is not necessarily he's going to airport. If airport in the west side, if he's going to San Bernardino, is driving towards that, I'm going to LAX, and that is the wrong. So this is the moral ethic is, different direction, wrong directions. And then the misunderstanding, misconceptions. So if it's the wrong directions and misunderstanding of their destinations, and then and one says how is that? So they doubt from the beginning. Before they, and how's that? Before they start going, they doubt: is it really there is a liberation or not? So the doubt, misunderstanding, misguided, all three are blocks. The gates of this, city gates of the liberations. So you should be called Basubandhusan Dominded and Lamnortas. Not wanting to go and going wrong directions and doubt on the right path is all equal in the blocking your path to the liberations. Now saying that, so how do the followers of the Buddha find the kind of, how do follow the Buddha describe the path that lead to the liberations? And then this is number 55, freedom will depend on you alone. Is depending on you alone. Freedom is not, Tarpa, the liberation is not, your liberation is not held by someone, or your liberation is granted to you by someone, So there is no, how's that? Your freedom is not relying on Bhagavan. Your freedom is not relying on, someone, the third persons. So it's completely and totally relying upon you, your actions, your understandings. So freedom is mind, mind become free from afflictive emotions, yourself from free from birth and aging and death. So it's upon you. And there is no one else. There is no one else. There is not depending on no one else, except yourself. No friend can help. So there is no way you can bribe on someone, ask the Bhagavan to give you liberations. So bring endeavor to the Four Noble Truths. So it understands the truth of suffering, understands the origin of suffering, understands the path that destroys the root of the suffering or the origin of suffering, and then understands there is possible of to actualize the cessation of the suffering. So this is the path to liberations, understanding the suffering and understanding the suffering. So in this line, there's no Buddha did not say that abandon the suffering. So Buddha says understand the suffering, and what you need to be abandoned, understands the origin of suffering, and then abandon the origin of suffering. Abandoning the afflictive emotions, and then meditate on the path lead to the liberations. And then you can actualize the cessation of the suffering. So understand the suffering means, again, Nagarjuna's, understand the suffering means, as long as your mind and body is under the power of, karma and afflictive emotions, so that is the condition of suffering. So you are suffering because you are under the force of the karma and afflictive emotions. So it is conditionally suffering, means this suffering is not forever. This suffering is not by natural. The water is boiling is not by natural. It is conditioned by the fire in the stove. So the fire in the stove keep burning, that boils the water, it heats up the water. So the water, it heat in the water is the problem, and turn off the, the flame. So which means that's exactly, the conditional suffering, when you heard the conditional suffering means, so conditional suffering means you are suffering with condition. Without that condition, you are not going to suffer. So the conditional suffering. So now, what is the condition? Is karma, the force of the karma and afflictive emotions. So under this, you will be in the condition of suffering. If you understand that and you apply the antidote, the wisdom that destroys the condition, both the force of the karma and the afflictions, and there's no reason, there's no condition for you to experience the suffering. There's no suffering to experience. So, and that kind of the antidote is the path. That antidote you should meditate on. So as a result of that meditating on the antidote of the ignorance, you will find the cessation of the suffering. If the if the cold is conditional, the winter cold is conditional, and you can turn on the heater. If the summer heat is conditional, you can turn on the air conditioners. It's a conditional heat, conditional cold. So it means it's not by natural, it is not forever. So therefore, you have to do it. You have to do by yourself. And without your doing, you cannot rely on friends or the teachers or the Bhagavan or any kind of deities. So this is like the kid who he want to eat, but he don't want to use his hand, and keep crying, I want to eat, I want to eat. So he doesn't want to open his mouth. That's the problem. So this is like essential being, So we want happiness, we want happiness, we want happiness. I don't want to think that. I don't want to do this, but I want happiness. So then only possible is slap. So Debashiva, with study and discipline and concentrations. So bring the endeavor to the Four Noble Truths with study, discipline, and concentrations. With study means, so studying the Four Noble Truths and try to gain the knowledge about the Four Noble Truths. So then endeavor means you have now endeavor to the, study and discipline, certain so cultivating the knowledge and the discipline and the concentrations. And Vasubandhu in the text, he says in a different order. Vasubandhu says discipline and study and concentrations. So maybe it's the same, maybe at the end of the gap. You are not going to follow the discipline or more, the discipline without knowing. So through knowing, you find there's the benefit. Then you will discipline yourself. And then study constantly, and you will be able to experience the knowledge, the taste of the knowledge. First, cook, preparing the food, then cook, then taste it. So then this is, what is the discipline here is train always in superior discipline. Discipline, like in the monastic discipline, so he says, maybe like fully ordained monks, we got 250 53s. So superior wisdoms and superior mind. So the superior means, as a Mayana, superior means, it's not your discipline and your kind of positive action is not just to, just to have a next life or the future, the better rebirth. So the superior means you want to end the birth, the cycle of the birth in samsara. So that is superior discipline, not for next life to be born in higher rebirth, to totally end the birth in the cyclic existence. So superior disciplines. And then talk about similar, yeah. Superior wisdoms. The wisdom is not just, to benefit in this life. The wisdom to gain the liberations, superior wisdoms. Superior mind, so, is a single-pointed meditation, is concentrations. Concentration, not just gain some kind of, miracle powers, or just to entertain people. Your concentration is to set your mind free from all the afflicted emotions, the cause of suffering. So this is how, superior discipline, superior wisdom, superior mind. So, and then the disciplines, how the follower, the Buddha, follows this kind of discipline is monks' vows exceed the 100, 105, and 510. 510. Sometimes they literally translate it like. So actually it's 250, some count 251, some say 253. So sometimes in the Theravadan traditions, Theravada not the lineage that is right now practices in Thailand and Sri Lanka. I think they are Nedindeva. So there's one kind of lineage. Looks like, I heard that this is 251 or something. Or some say, 250, some maybe, So in Buddhists, and the Tibetan Buddhists, before another lineage, so 253. So when we discuss, we come to understand the same. Actually, it's the same. So maybe Tibetan counts these spoons and all these things. So Tibetan, not just plate, is with spoon and forks. So that's it. And then this is about just for the monks and the lay persons, 10 virtues, and then additional not drinking alcohol, So this kind of, for the lay vows for one day, monks, until death. So lay vows is taken like once in a month, or twice in a month, or once in a year. So it's just for the 1 month. The day you take this morning, and then that the vows ends in tomorrow sunrise. Yeah. Any questions? And let's do it. 47. 47, 48. Any questions? I think here maybe it's most important point is the way you know the practice that you practice for practice for the liberations or the moksha or the freedom or peace or happiness. So there's two kind of things, one, this is like, school students always have so much, inspirations to the teachers, and he kind of so much respect and believe that my teacher knows everything. And just by that, and I will know it, So I don't want to do the homework. So even I can distract and disturb, but my teacher is very good. So I will be best. So one student says, it doesn't matter, teacher, if teacher is not that intelligent to explain to detail, but I will kind of continuously, rigorously study. I want to know this point. Teacher may help. This kind of attitude to persons. So the follower kind of seeking liberation is like that. One is so much worshiping and saying, you know everything. You will do it for me. So after the prayer session, they go back to sleep and do something wrong. So now Nagarjuna says, if you really want happiness, is, without your effort, so no one can bring happiness to you, even not for your friends. So, happiness means you want to free from these obstacles, defilement, you want to free from that. So if you don't do by yourself, and the Buddha or the Bhagavan or any kind of perfect being or the mighty God they always kind of, there's nothing they can do, because just simply faith or inspiration is not going to help. And then the second, I mentioned that when we think about the suffering and happiness, here's when we talk about the happiness is we're talking about, not pleasurable, kind of happiness. So we're talking about happiness from, freedom from all the defilement, all the disturbance and the distractions. That freedoms, so that freedoms to kind of to go after or to kind of to obtain that kind of state of peace or happiness, you have to understand why you are not happy, and in what condition you are not happy, or what condition that you feel, discomfort and dissatisfactions. So if you understand that, and you come to understand your suffering and your dissatisfaction or discomfort is, under the condition of afflictive emotions, you are not happy. So if you remove, or if you kind of abandon, eliminate that conditions, and there is no cause and condition can cause you any suffering to yourself. So your suffering is conditional. Means it can be removed, it can be eliminated, it can be, separable from your mind. So, which means the liberation or the permanent state of peace is very possible if you see through your wisdom. So, and I also mentioned that, you cannot find happiness, keep blaming yourself, keep blaming yourself and keep praising to, God or the Bhagavan or whatever, you have respect. Just praising them and blaming yourself is very, very harmful. It is kind of, what called meaningless. Because there is no good result at the end. Yeah, that's the point. Okay, no question again. Chanju Simjo Rinpoche, Majepa na Jeju, Jeba Nyamba, Meva, Konde Kondo Pevers, Tonya Tawa Rinpoche, Majepa na Jeju, Jeba Nyamba, Meva, Konde Kondo Pevers, Pamasimja Tamja, Dela Denju, and Rotamja Tato Toa, Chanju Simba Kanda Sushu, Tata Kunja, Molum Dumju, Karera Vibration, Pendant the woman, Rujo, Jereson, Tinzi Jazo, Yishabe, Side Batu, Tenjuruchi.
May the precious body mind not yet born arise and grow. May the bone have no decline but increase forevermore. May the precious mind realizing emptiness not yet born arise and grow. May the bone have no decline but increase forevermore. Due to all these merits, may all father and mother sentient beings have all the happiness. And may all lower realms be empty forever. Wherever there are bodhisattvas, may all their prayers be accomplished immediately. In the sacred land surrounded by snow mountains, you are the source of all benefit and happiness, all powerful Trinity Tenzin Gyatso. Remain in this world until samsara ends.
Thank you very much.